Warning, this list contains an awful lot of religious references and not all of them might be correct. Turn away now if you're offended by such materials. And if you're not offended by such materials, please enjoy this list.
For eons, dragons have been known to mankind for their might and tyranny. These foul beasts have even been spreading chaos throughout the noble lord of...
Okay, I can't do this voice all the time, but we have known dragons ever since before the medieval times from both literature and legends, where they often have been associated with something supernatural or directly godly. But now they have also been introduced in gaming, so it might be appropriate to talk about them now actually. Now, how do I describe a dragon? Well, my criteria is as follows. First, they need to be reptiles or reptilian, since most sources depict dragons as reptiles. Second, they need to have some kind of supernatural features, because dragons usually just are more than just their appearance. Also, dragons have some sort of personality that just distinct them so much more from the foul beasts elsewhere. I'll also be judging upon other features such as mythological connections and symbolism, since a lot of the fantasy fables in games have root in some real life mythology. But with that said, let's fire up for my top 10 dragons in gaming! Bowser have been a major enemy nearly since the birth of gaming. For a long time he have just been tyrannizing the Mushroom Kingdom and stealing Princess Peach, so you can say that his actions are something right out of the ancient Austrian legend of Saint Michael and the Dragon. By appearance, Bowser is a turtle, which counts as a reptile. If not his appearance talks enough for a dragon side, his abilities are saying the rest. Bowser has super strength, is able to breathe fire, and to resurrect himself. That is fucked up. But Bowser loses some points because of his appearance is mostly turtle-like, and all of his actions ends in failure. But he still comes back no matter what. Why does that sound familiar?
From an ancient world comes this master of dragons, slayer of warlocks, conqueror of armies, and master of elements. He is...
Spyro the Dragon? Yes, he is on this list. And he have even accomplished all of the things earlier mentioned. He have defeated both Nasty Gnorc and Ripto on multiple occasions, and even an entire pirate fleet, for not to mention the embodiment of all evil. No, the other embodiment of all evil. No, this is getting complicated, but he have also mastered many different elemental abilities, such as fire control, ice control, and bubble control? His personality is quite cocky, but loyal up until the legend of Spyro, where he becomes less cocky and more naive. But on the other hand, he gets more of a godly connection by the prophecy of the purple dragons, which also gives him some godly elements to him. But his design is a little too cute for the dragon standards. Even in the darker The Legend of Spyro franchise, his design is more like the naivety that his personality has developed, rather than a little bit rash, rough. You know it. If you count by godly connections and supernatural features, all of the Colossi from Shadow of the Colossus would be on this list. But when we are talking about dragons, none but two of them have the qualities: Phalanx and Hydras. And of those two, I would choose Hydras. Why Hydras? Oh, don't get me wrong, I actually like Phalanx, but I think that Hydras is more dragon-like by actually looking directly like a serpent. Who used freaking electricity to hurt you? But if you look beside that, its Latin name is actually also related to the Hydra from Greek mythology. Although myths describe more a Hydra to be aggressive, but Hydras only passively damages water with the electricity spikes as it is swimming around. But then again, I don't really think that Shadow would have been all that of a fantastic game if all of its colossi were out to kill you. Hey, I wonder what Colossus this is?
Huh?
Oh, bugger! Now we are talking. Volvagia is a real dragon from Ocarina of Time. Despite the fact that most of its features is more related to a snake, it still have all of the features of a real legendary dragon. It resides in a volcano, has fire for its element, and guess what? Even its backstory is directly relatable to the ancient Austrian Saint George and the dragon legend. It once before in the storyline have been terrorizing and eating the Gorons. Both times a legendary hero did defeat Volvagia with a legendary
Megaton Hammer.
So if gaming was legends, the story of Volvagia would be our world's best known dragon legend. But one thing bugs me though. In the legend, the city needs to sacrifice a virgin woman to save the city, but there does not seem to be any female woman in Garland City. Wait. Okay, please bear with me on this one, since I have not completed the entire game yet, but still, the Archdemon from Dragon Age Origins definitely deserves a spot on this list. Its design is just the perfect medieval dragon type, and even looking more intimidating than other dragons. The Archdemon gets a lot of build-up throughout the game, and is represented as an avatar for the first Darkspawn. the first time we see the appearance of the Archdemon is during the joining, where you see it in a fever dream. That just seals it as a nightmarish creature. So its appearance and all of the things that the Archdemons do and make the Darkspawn do gives it a spot on this list. But since I have not played through the entire game, I can't put it any higher. The Pokemon franchise do have a ton of dragons, both in appearance, in type, in features, but if you force me to choose between all of those dragons... Wait, what? Palkia? Yes, and it was actually a hard choice, but there is a reason. Of all of the legendary dragons in the Pokemon franchise, Palkia is one of the strongest of them. And of its stats and move pool, it fits very well. Most of its attack are special attacks, and the highest of its base stats is special attack on 150. Its HP is unfortunately the lowest of its base stats, but it makes up for that with pretty high defense and special defense. And even if you look at Palkia's Pokédex index, there's even some big elements going on. Apparently Palkia is a deity who created the universe with its mere birth and stabilizes the space continuum with its very breath. In other words, Palkia is the essence of the whole universe. You might disagree with this one because Palkia really don't look like a dragon, but as I stated in the beginning, a dragon is more than just the appearance. A lot of literature depicts dragons as gods or godlike, but with Palkia, I must say that there's one thing that bothers me. In most Chinese and Japanese mythology, a dragon god is said to be a rain god and bringer of water, which I kinda find a connection to with Palkia being a water type. But then why give Palkia the power of space control? That's weird. Throughout all of the Heroes of Might and Magic games, dragons have been represented as one of the strongest creatures that you can recruit. No matter if you choose the green dragons from the Sylvanian cities, the ghost dragons from the necropolises, or even the independent dragons, they are of the strongest of the units. But of all of these dragons in these games, I would choose the black dragons from the dungeon castles. These are the strongest of the dungeon creatures. They have always been given immunity to all spells. They are flyers, so it can fly all mines and walls, and it even have an attack bonus against giants and titans with 150%. And I even like them in Heroes of Might and Magic 5, where they were given a more godly connection as to be children of Asher. And they do a great job at that with their chilling voices and nearly tempting offerings.
You will fear that which you love the most.
I am the thing that keeps you up at night, the evil that haunts every dark corner of your mind. I will never rest, and neither will you.
Next! To think that there was not enough mythological symbolism in Dragon Quest IX? From the observatory with the Celestians and the World Tree, to the Thick Fruit and what the fuck they bring with them. But that's beside the point. In the game, the Giddish Empire was restored to its highest state, and one of the beasts whom was summoned by the king of the Giddish Empire was in fact the dragon Barbarus. According to folklore in the game, he fought against the dragon Greynall, who was protecting his hometown from the Empire. So, an evil black dragon against a good white dragon? Yeah, that's beside the point. But one thing you might think right now is, with Greynall looking exactly like Barbarus, why did I put Barbarus up here instead of Greynall? Well, first off, in personality, Barbarus actually seems like more of the classic dragon tyrant that we are used to hear about from old European legends, where Greynall just acts a little too stereotypically nice. Second, in the fight between those two that we see in the game, Barbarus defeats Greynall. And if you count beside that, there's actually mythological symbolism to Barbarus. Because Barbarus' name is a reference to a segment of the New Testament where the murderer named Barbarus was spared on Easter Day for his death sentence in favor of Jesus of Nazareth. This is actually kinda shown in the battle scene against Greynall, where Barbarus obviously was supposed to die, but Greynall was sacrificed for the sake of his people. He is the Messiah! Okay, moving on.
The frightful King of Winter ruled from his crystal splendors, and all around him would bow to him alone.
Oh yeah. Tiamat is a real chaotically evil ice dragon who has a personality to match. He is cold, he is calculated, and he is arrogant. He controls an entire army of kobolds, which he sent to attack your teacher, Master Dragon, in the town called Hilltop, and retrieve the artifact that he protects. And if those qualities aren't enough, then look. His design is a classic well-known dragon design to perfection. He can spit an ice breath attack and can literally smell alive. He's so arrogant that he sets you to deliver him the artifact for you. But one thing is kind of weird with Tiamat. If your persuade skill is high enough, you can persuade him to protect Hilltop. A chaotic, evil ice dragon set on protecting someone? That's weird. Spyro, Bowser, and Palkia had the abilities. Tiamat, the Archdemon, and the Black Dragons had the design. Volvagia, Barbarus, and Hydras had the mythological references. For a dragon to be the number one on this list, it needs to possess all of these traits, and I have found a dragon who does. I am of course talking about Bahamut. And why not? All of the different versions of him have always been the classic dragon style. It even at some points looked more intimidating than the Archdemon. Its best known attack in the Final Fantasy franchise, Mega Flare, is always associated with one of the most powerful attacks in the games. And some incarnations of him even had other abilities than that, which make him just overpowered. His first appearance in gaming was in Final Fantasy I as the Dragon King who upgraded your characters, but that version as a Dragon King was also known from Dungeons and Dragons. And that is not the farthest back that Bahamut is known. In fact, in ancient Arabian mythology, the creature known as Bahamut was described as a cosmic fish which carried the world on its back. So, let's say, Bahamut's appearance, his powers, his status, and his mythology is what makes Bahamut my #1 dragon in gaming. I can even go on with Bahamut, because some sources also describe Bahamut as an ocean creature of the world in the same style as a Midgard world from the Northern mythology, which can be supported by some of the interaction between the old Arabian countries and the old Northern countries by sources such as what Ibn Adlan had been given in the old
Do I smell soiled baby diaper?